There is a law, perfect and exact, that moves with the majesty of divine order. It is not a law made by men, nor bound by the limitations of the visible world. It is the law of supply, of abundance, of the unbroken flow of good that rushes like a mighty river toward the one who dares to claim it with unwavering authority. You are not a beggar at the gates of destiny. You are the heir to infinite riches. The word spoken with faith is the scepter in your hand, and the invisible forces of prosperity wait upon your command. When the soul stands tall in its own divine dominion, lack dissolves like mist before the rising sun. Poverty is but an illusion, a shadow cast by doubt and fear. The true substance is already yours. It exists in the unseen, waiting to take form at your decree. Speak as one who knows, not as one who pleads. Say to the great ocean of supply, "Come forth," and it must obey, for the word of power carries the seal of divine authority. Many wander in circles because they whisper requests instead of issuing commands. But the universe does not respond to hesitation. It answers to certainty. When the heart is steady and the vision clear, the riches of the invisible are magnetized to your spoken word. The gold, the opportunities, the allies, the unexpected avenues, all rise up and hasten to meet you. For the law knows no resistance. It only knows fulfillment. You are not separate from abundance. You are the channel through which it flows. As you think, so does the stream widen or narrow. As you speak, so does the invisible take shape. If you speak fear, you call forth obstacles. If you speak faith, you summon millions. There is no neutral ground in the language of creation. Every word is a seed. Every declaration plants itself in the fertile soil of the unseen, and harvest must come in its appointed season. Therefore, speak boldly. Say, "By my command the millions answer." Say it not with trembling, but with the serene assurance of one who knows their inheritance. The riches of the universe are not stored in vaults of stone, but in the limitless field of divine substance. Money is but the shadow. The power is in the word. Every vibration you release sets unseen wheels in motion. The divine supply has no end, no ceiling, no measure. It is infinite as the stars, faithful as the dawn. You have only to align your word with its power and call it into form. Where others see empty spaces, you see divine appointments. Where others see delay, you see the swift unfolding of perfect timing. The invisible hears your voice. The substance responds to your decree. Stand in your power and let your words roll forth like thunder. Say it and the universe moves. Command it and the millions come. To speak with unwavering authority is to stand in the center of your own dominion, knowing that the power which creates worlds listens and moves at the sound of your word. It is to release every whisper of doubt and wear the robe of certainty as a mantle, not as a performance but as a mantle. Not as a performance but as a mantle, not as a performance but as a mantle, not as a performance but as a mantle. Not as a performance but as a meditative being. True authority does not shout, nor does it strive to convince. It flows with quiet, unshakable power that comes from an inner knowing that what is spoken is already accomplished in the invisible. It is not a matter of forcing reality, but aligning with the law that responds unfailingly to the voice of conviction. When you speak from that center, mountains bow, pathways clear, and provision rushes to meet your decree as if it had been waiting for your command all along. Authority is not found in the outer world. It is born from the still, radiant core of the self. To speak with power, one must first know they possess it. When the heart is divided, when the voice carries uncertainty, the law mirrors back the same divided vibration. But when the word is firm, charged with the electric current of faith, it sets invisible forces into harmonious motion. The seen world is only the reflection of the unseen, and the unseen moves in response to the authority you embody. This authority cannot be borrowed, mimicked, or faked. It is not a costume you put on, it is a vibration you become. Many speak their desires but lace them with invisible threads of fear, as if the power they invoke might fail or falter. This weakens the command and scatters its energy. A king does not plead with his kingdom, he declares, and his word is law. A queen does not beg the wind to carry her message, she speaks, and the wind obeys. In the same way, your spoken word must carry the weight of certainty, the strength of one who knows they are not asking, but commanding. The invisible realm responds to this tone as faithfully as the tide responds to the moon. To speak with unwavering authority, one must shed the habit of hesitation. Hesitation is the language of disbelief, and disbelief builds invisible walls that block the flow of supply. Each word must be planted in the soil of faith, rooted deep like a tree that does not fear the storm. There can be no trembling in your declaration, no hidden apology, no attempt to convince or explain. Authority does not explain itself. It simply speaks. When you say, "This is mine," the vibration of your voice must carry the calm certainty of possession. When you say, "It comes now," your tone must not be tinged with waiting, but with the assuredness of immediate manifestation. This kind of authority is cultivated in the silence before the word is spoken. It is the inner preparation, the aligning of thought and feeling, that gives the spoken word its irresistible power. You cannot command from a heart filled with contradiction. You cannot declare abundance while secretly believing in lack. The vibration of the heart always reveals itself, and the unseen realm mirrors that vibration precisely. So to speak with power, the heart must be emptied of every whisper of doubt. Faith must not only be believed in, but worn like a crown. Think of the way the earth responds to the seasons. It does not argue with the spring, it blooms. It does not resist the summer, it ripens. It does not question the autumn, it releases. It does not fear the winter, it rests. The invisible responds to your word in this same natural, unresisting way when that word is spoken with unwavering authority. There is no force or struggle in it. It is not about how loudly or dramatically the words are said. It is about the certainty that rides on the vibration beneath them. Unwavering authority is not arrogance. It is not shouting at the world or trying to overpower others. It is the serene knowledge that the law is on your side, that the universe is already aligned with your highest good. It is not a battle for control, but a calm claim of what is already yours by divine right. When you speak from this place, your voice carries an invisible weight, a magnetism that pulls form out of formlessness. People respond differently, doors open in unexpected places, opportunities begin to appear with effortless precision, and circumstances rearrange themselves in obedience to your declaration. When the mind wavers, the word wavers. When the word wavers, the result wavers. So the cultivation of authority begins long before the declaration is spoken. It begins in the disciplined training of thought, the steady guarding of inner conversation. If in silence your mind contradicts your spoken word, you scatter your power. But if in silence your mind agrees with your spoken word, the vibration is unified and the command becomes irresistible. This is why those who speak once with faith often receive more than those who speak 100 times with doubt. It is not repetition that moves the universe, it is certainty. The unseen realm does not analyze your vocabulary or judge the beauty of your phrasing. It responds only to the energy beneath your word. A simple, unwavering "I have it now" carries more creative power than a long, eloquent speech filled with uncertainty. Authority is stripped of ornamentation. It does not need decoration. It is pure, direct, and unwavering. It speaks once and expects obedience. This is not a hope nor a wish, it is a decree. To live in this state is to walk in quiet power. You no longer chase, plead, or push, you command. You speak, and then you rest in the certainty that what you declared is already unfolding. Your inner atmosphere becomes steady, calm, and radiant. Doubt loses its grip because it cannot survive in the presence of true authority. Your energy no longer leaks through fear or indecision. It concentrates, sharpens, and aligns with the infinite law of supply. Speaking with unwavering authority is the act of a soul that knows its inheritance. It is not trying to get something. It is claiming what already exists in the invisible. Every word spoken from this level of consciousness sends out a current that cannot return void. It goes forth clothed in the power of divine law, and creation must shape itself around it. This is how miracles appear without strain. This is how abundance flows without resistance. This is how destiny obeys the voice that dares to speak as one with the power that moves worlds. To command, not plead, is to step out of the realm of lack and into the throne room of power, where the spoken word is law. The act of pleading is born from the belief that what you desire is distant, uncertain, or controlled by something outside yourself. Pleading places the power in the hands of chance, of circumstance, of other people, or of time. But to command is to remember who you are, the channel through which the infinite expresses itself. It is to know that the invisible responds to the tone of authority, not to the tremor of begging. When you command, you do not seek permission. You issue the word, and the forces of creation align in silent obedience. Pleading carries the vibration of separation. It whispers to the universe, "I don't have it yet," and the law mirrors back the same reality. Every plea reinforces the feeling of distance between you and your desire, building invisible walls of delay. But a command is the vibration of possession. It declares, "It is mine," not as an act of hope, but as a statement of truth. The universe does not respond to words alone. It responds to the state behind the words. The tone of command carries certainty, a stillness that tells the invisible there is nothing left to negotiate. When the farmer plants a seed, he does not plead with the earth to grow it. He knows the law is already at work. He simply gives the command through the act of planting and trusts the invisible forces to bring forth the harvest. In the same way, your words are seeds. When spoken as commands, they are planted deep in the rich soil of the unseen. Pleading is like digging the seed up again and again, doubting the process, questioning the timing. Commanding plants at once and walks away with serene assurance. The energy of a plea is scattered and weak. It comes from a place of lack, of trying to convince, of hoping something might respond if the cry is loud enough. But the energy of a command is focused and sharp. It does not try to convince anything because it already knows the outcome. It does not ask, "Will this work?" It declares, "This works now." When the voice carries that vibration, the unseen moves like an obedient servant, arranging people, circumstances, and opportunities to match the decree. Those who plead believe they are separate from the source of their good. Those who command know they are one with it. A plea says, "Give this to me." A command says, "This is already mine." Pleading vibrates with fear of not receiving. Commanding vibrates with the certainty of possession. Pleading bends the spine and lowers the gaze. Commanding stands tall, shoulders open, vision fixed on what already belongs to you. The difference is not in the words themselves, but in the consciousness behind them. Two people may say the same phrase, one as a plea, one as a command, and the universe will respond to them in opposite ways. The words, "I will have it," when whispered with uncertainty, build delay, but the same words spoken as a decree collapse time. Power lies in the tone, the inner stance, the certainty. Many wonder why their affirmations feel hollow, why their prayers feel unanswered, why their desires seem distant. It is because they are wrapped in the vibration of asking rather than declaring. The invisible does not respond to need. It responds to knowing. Need is a signal of absence, and absence attracts more absence. Command is a signal of presence, and presence attracts more of itself. This is the subtle but mighty difference between those who wish and those who create. Commanding does not require aggression or volume. It does not need to be shouted from mountaintops. True command is quiet, steady, and unshakable. It is like the deep hum of the earth, low and powerful, resonating through every layer of reality. A whispered command with unwavering certainty shakes the unseen more than a shouted plea soaked in fear. The invisible recognizes the vibration of one who remembers their authority. The child of a king does not beg for bread at the royal table. They take their seat and receive what is theirs by right. In the same way, when you command, you take your seat at the table of infinite supply. You do not ask the universe if it might grant your wish. You speak as one who knows the law is already set, the abundance already flowing, the good already accomplished. The law is impersonal. It does not reward the one who begs more loudly. It responds to the one who knows how to command with faith. To command is to hold your ground when appearances whisper the opposite. It is to say, "It is done," even when the evidence has not yet shown itself in form. Pleading looks at appearances and reacts to them. Commanding looks beyond appearances and declares the invisible reality. Pleading vibrates with the energy of waiting. Commanding vibrates with the energy of already having. This is why those who live in command often appear calm, unshaken, and radiant. They are not waiting for signs. They are aware the signs will follow their word. Pleading watches for proof before believing. Commanding believes, and proof must follow. Pleading tries to bargain with the universe, to negotiate with doubt, to explain why it should be answered. Commanding has no need to explain. It is the vibration of truth itself. This way of speaking shifts your entire inner world. When you stop pleading, the air around your words changes. Your body language transforms. Your thoughts become disciplined. Your inner voice stops wandering in circles of doubt and begins to march forward like a steady drumbeat. You become a transmitter of certainty, and certainty bends reality to its rhythm. Commanding does not arise from arrogance or ego. It flows from alignment. It is not the human personality forcing outcomes. It is the divine current flowing through you, issuing its decree through your voice. This is why the one who commands must first quiet the noise of fear and align with the stillness of power. A command without alignment is hollow. But when alignment is present, even a few words carry the weight of mountains. Pleading says, "Please let it happen." Commanding says, "It is happening now." Pleading bends under the illusion of powerlessness. Commanding stands in the light of divine inheritance. Pleading is the language of delay. Commanding is the language of manifestation. Pleading looks outward. Commanding speaks from within. The invisible world does not question your worthiness. It only reflects your vibration. If you plead, it mirrors back the state of wanting. If you command, it mirrors back the state of having. This is why commanding is not simply about speech, but about embodiment. When you command, every cell in your being must align with the declaration. Your breath must carry certainty. Your heartbeat must drum to the rhythm of "It is already mine." In the silence before the command, you prepare the ground. You let go of every trace of fear, every echo of doubt, every whisper of what if. Then from that quiet power you speak. You say the word once and let the unseen do its work. There is no scrambling, no chasing, no pushing. The authority of your command is enough. The unseen moves not because it is pressured, but because it is directed. Those who command understand that they are not trying to get something. They are calling into visibility what already exists in the invisible. Pleading treats the invisible as a reluctant giver. Commanding treats it as a faithful servant. This difference shifts the entire field of creation. Pleading vibrates low, like a flickering candle. Commanding vibrates steady, like a blazing sun. To command is to remember. To command is to return to the original state of dominion. To command is to speak from the center of your being, not from the edges of fear. To command is to plant the flag of certainty in the ground of your reality and let the universe rearrange itself around your decree. Commanding does not waver, does not beg, does not explain. It speaks. And creation listens. Words shape invisible substance with a precision that is far more exact than most dare to imagine. Every spoken word is a thread woven into the unseen fabric of reality, and from those threads form the patterns of experience. The physical world is not the beginning of creation, but the result of it, for what is seen is merely the shadow of what was first spoken or declared. Words are not idle sounds floating into empty air. They are living forces, carriers of vibration, each wrapped in the energy of the consciousness that speaks them. They go forth into the unseen, take shape in the substance of the invisible, and return clothed in form. When a word is spoken with conviction, it imprints itself upon the field of infinite substance, leaving an indelible mark that must come forth in time and space. Invisible substance is not some distant abstraction, it is the living, breathing essence that surrounds all things, the pliable field waiting to be molded by direction. It does not resist, it only receives and responds. The tone, emotion, and belief wrapped around each word act as the mold, and the substance flows to fill that mold with flawless obedience. When words are spoken in fear, the invisible substance shapes itself into obstacles and delays. When words are spoken in faith, the invisible substance flows into pathways and provisions. The invisible has no will of its own. It simply mirrors the vibration that reaches it. This is why careless speech is never truly careless. Words uttered without awareness still have power. A passing complaint may seem insignificant, but it sets in motion small currents that build and gather strength. Repeated over time, these small currents grow into waves that wash over the shores of experience. A single seed may seem small, but a field of them planted daily shapes entire landscapes. Words are seeds. Words are molds. Words are architects of the unseen. When one understands this, the weight of every syllable becomes apparent. Idle chatter ceases to be idle, for the law listens to everything. The unseen does not differentiate between what you say lightly and what you say with gravity. It simply obeys. If a word is wrapped in emotion, its imprint deepens, for emotion is the fire that forges the invisible shape more quickly. A fearful phrase repeated with feeling can build a wall without a brick ever being laid. A word of power spoken with faith can open doors that appear sealed shut. The moment a word leaves your lips, it travels farther than your ear can hear. It passes beyond the air, beyond the room, beyond the visible realm, entering the great field where everything is formed. That field does not debate, argue, or delay. It receives, absorbs, and begins to shape. This is why spoken words are not like passing thoughts. Thoughts whisper, words command. Thoughts stir the air, words carve into the unseen. When thought and word align, their force magnifies. Words shape not only outer circumstances but the inner atmosphere of the speaker. The sound of your own voice becomes the script written on the walls of your inner world. When you declare limitation, you breathe that limitation into the very air around you. When you declare abundance, your atmosphere shifts to match it. You live inside the structure your own words build. They are not separate from you. They return like echoes, carrying the shape of what you have set in motion. This is why those who speak with care and intention begin to see their lives align with grace and precision. They have learned to be architects rather than wanderers. They do not scatter their power in casual speech. They select their words as a sculptor selects their tools. They understand that invisible substance takes its orders from the voice. If their speech is filled with doubt, they do not blame the world for the reflection that appears. If their speech is filled with power, they watch as the world rearranges itself accordingly. Every structure, every fortune, every miracle began as a word spoken either aloud or inwardly, but eventually declared with the authority of sound. Sound carries a vibration that travels where the eyes cannot see. When spoken with belief, it becomes a living current, moving through the field like wind through tall grass, shaping everything it touches. You do not need to see it to know it is working. A seed buried in the soil works in silence long before the sprout appears. Words work in the invisible long before the evidence manifests. The invisible substance does not understand hesitation. It understands command. It responds to the word that carries no doubt in its tone. A wavering word builds fragile forms, collapsing at the slightest resistance. A steady word, spoken once with power, builds structures that endure. It is not the loudness of the voice that shapes substance, but the steadiness of the vibration. A whisper of certainty can create more swiftly than a scream of uncertainty. To shape invisible substance with words, one must first become aware of the constant flow of speech. Many speak as if their words vanish into nothing, unaware that each phrase is a building block. They speak of lack, then wonder why lack expands. They speak of delay, then wonder why time stretches. They speak of doubt, then wonder why doors seem closed. They are architects who build without knowing they are building. But when awareness dawns, the power to shape with precision awakens. To speak is to create. To speak is to give form to the formless. Each word carries an image, even if unseen by the eye. When you say, "I cannot," the invisible substance molds itself into closed pathways. When you say, "I can," the substance shapes itself into open roads. When you say, "I have," it arranges itself to match the vibration of possession. The unseen listens to every word as a decree, not a suggestion. Those who master their words begin to shape their world as an artist shapes clay. They do not allow fear to spill through their speech like ink staining a page. They speak deliberately, with calm power, knowing that every word is a brushstroke painting their tomorrow. They do not chase results, they build them in the invisible first. They speak the word and let substance obey its law. The voice does not merely describe reality, it defines it. When one says, "This is hard," they are not commenting on a fixed reality. They are commanding substance to take the shape of difficulty. When one says, "This flows with ease," they instruct the invisible to rearrange itself into ease. Words do not report the news, they write the script. The universe acts upon the script as faithfully as a stage follows its playwright. Invisible substance has no resistance to your command, but it also has no filter. It does not decide whether what you say is beneficial or harmful. It only shapes what is spoken. This is why vigilance in speech is not mere discipline, but creation itself. Those who speak power and abundance build pathways of gold beneath their feet. Those who speak fear and lack build barriers before they even take their next step. A word is never just a word. It is a decree dressed in sound. It is a vibration that goes out and returns, bearing fruit of its own kind. Words of strength return as strength. Words of defeat return as defeat. Words of wealth return as opportunities. Words of scarcity return as obstacles. The harvest may not appear in the same form as the seed, but the essence is always a match. When this truth settles into the soul, the act of speaking becomes sacred. The lips no longer fling words carelessly into the wind. They become the instruments of creation. Silence is used not as a void but as a space of power, for in silence the sculptor chooses the next form to bring forth. And when the word is finally spoken, it is spoken with precision, clarity, and force. In every moment, the invisible substance stands ready, awaiting its instructions. It does not sleep, it does not rest, it does not question. It mirrors, it shapes, it obeys. Your words are the tools, the blueprints, the hands that mold it. The reality you inhabit is not built by chance, it is built by the words you have spoken over days, months, years. Each declaration a beam, each phrase a stone, each statement a door or a wall. To know this is to hold power in your mouth. The voice becomes the instrument that moves worlds. Words are no longer mere expressions. They are forces that shape the very air you breathe. They rise from the unseen, travel through you, and return as form. They are both seed and harvest, beginning and result. The invisible waits, and the word gives it shape. Faith magnetizes abundance in a way that nothing else can. It is the silent force that moves through the unseen, drawing opportunities, resources, ideas, and people toward the one who holds it steady. Faith is not an emotion that comes and goes. It is a current, a steady hum beneath the noise of appearances. Where fear scatters energy, faith gathers it. Where doubt builds walls, faith opens gates. It is not the frantic effort of trying to make things happen, but the calm pull of a magnetic power that knows the outcome is already secure. Faith does not chase abundance, it causes abundance to come closer, like iron drawn to a magnet hidden beneath the surface. Abundance is not something that needs to be forced into existence. It is already flowing through the invisible realm, ready to be claimed. Faith acts as the bridge between the seen and the unseen, allowing what is already present in potential to crystallize into form. When one holds faith, the field of possibility responds with movement, aligning circumstances in a way that cannot be orchestrated by logic alone. It is as if the unseen hears a frequency, and that frequency rearranges everything to match it. Faith is that frequency. Many speak of wanting abundance while holding doubt close like a companion. But abundance cannot be magnetized by conflicting vibrations. A single steady stream of faith draws it with ease, while doubt pushes it away. Faith says, "It is already mine." Doubt whispers, "What if it never comes?" The invisible listens not to the words alone, but to the vibration beneath them. If faith dominates, the unseen answers with precision. If doubt dominates, the signal becomes weak and scattered. Faith does not require evidence to be strong. It does not depend on signs to believe. It is the knowing before the showing. It is the calm conviction that abundance is not something to be earned through struggle, but something to be received through alignment. Those who walk in faith move differently. They carry an atmosphere that speaks louder than their words. Their steps are firm, their gaze steady, their energy centered. They do not need to explain their certainty because faith is its own language. When faith fills the inner space, it radiates outward. The world, like a mirror, reflects that inner state back through circumstances. It is not the outer world that brings faith. It is faith that shapes the outer world. It reaches beyond logic and rearranges paths, lifts veils, opens doors that seemed invisible a moment before. Faith does not ask, "How will it happen?" It declares, "It already is," and allows the unseen to design the way. Abundance is sensitive to the vibration of faith. It does not come to the one who grasps and clings with fear. It flows to the one who stands open and sure, knowing they are the rightful receiver. Faith is not blind. It is sight beyond sight. It looks past appearances, past temporary lack, past delays, and sees only the reality that already exists in the invisible. When faith is fixed, appearances lose their power to sway. The outer world may tremble, but faith stands unmoved, and abundance cannot resist that kind of certainty. The magnetism of faith is not loud or demanding. It is quiet, steady, and irresistible. Just as the Earth's magnetic field silently pulls the compass needle, faith silently pulls the right conditions into place. This is why one does not need to chase abundance. It is not the running that brings it, but the alignment of vibration. Faith becomes a silent call that abundance cannot ignore. When one lives in faith, opportunities begin to appear where none seem to exist. People arrive at the perfect moment. Solutions unfold as if they had been waiting for the exact frequency of belief. This is not coincidence, it is law. Faith is the signal that sets the law in motion. It tells the invisible, "Now is the time," and the invisible obeys. The opposite of this is striving without faith, which creates exhaustion. When a person tries to force abundance through doubt and fear, their energy becomes scattered. They push and push, but nothing moves. The door seems closed, not because it is locked, but because their vibration does not match the key. Faith is the key. It turns the invisible lock without struggle, and the door swings open with quiet ease. Faith does not rely on the five senses. It moves by a deeper sense, the sense of inner knowing. Even when the outer world is silent, faith speaks. Even when the evidence has not arrived, faith sees it already done. This inner vision is what magnetizes the outer form. The unseen responds to the inner picture, held with unwavering belief. This is why faith cannot be half-hearted. A flickering belief sends a flickering signal. A steady belief sends a clear command. Abundance is not a reward for the worthy. It is a law responding to faith. It does not choose favorites. It responds to vibration. Those who believe with unwavering certainty find doors opening effortlessly. Those who doubt find doors remaining unseen, though they stand right before them. The difference is not in luck, but in faith. When faith is strong, timing bends to meet it. What once seemed distant arrives with uncanny speed. Resources that once felt scarce appear with ease. Paths that once looked complicated become simple. Faith creates a gravitational pull around the one who holds it. It is not merely positive thinking, it is alignment with the law of supply. To cultivate faith is to quiet the noise of doubt. Doubt speaks loudly, pointing at appearances and whispering stories of lack. Faith does not argue with doubt, it overrides it. Faith does not need to prove itself, it simply stands. The more it stands, the more abundance gathers. Faith has a still power, a gravity that does not waver with the winds of circumstance. This is why true faith feels effortless. It is not a clenched jaw and tight grip, it is an open hand. It is the deep breath before the wave arrives, knowing the wave is already on its way. The one who believes does not chase the tide, they prepare to receive it. The universe hears faith more clearly than any plea. Faith is a clear signal, pleading is static. Faith calls abundance home, fear drives it away. Faith does not need to control the how, it only needs to declare the what. The how is the language of the invisible, and the invisible speaks fluently. Faith is not about trying to figure out the path. It is about knowing the path will reveal itself in perfect order. Abundance is drawn to this energy as naturally as rivers flow to the sea. Faith magnetizes abundance not through effort, but through alignment. It pulls without pulling, speaks without shouting, moves without forcing. It is the still center in a spinning world, the quiet certainty in a noisy storm. Those who hold it steady become living magnets. Opportunities orbit them. Ideas find them. Resources flow to them. Doors open without knocking. The invisible recognizes faith like a familiar sound. It does not question or delay when that sound is heard. It begins to move, to arrange, to gather, to unfold. This is why faith has always been described as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is the bridge between what is imagined and what becomes real. It is the invisible hand that draws the visible into place. The great secret is that abundance is already circling, waiting for a signal to land. Faith is that landing signal. Doubt clouds it, fear scatters it, but faith clears the air. It stands as a beacon in the unseen, a bright and unwavering light. And to that light, abundance is drawn without hesitation. The universe obeys certainty with a precision that defies logic. It moves not in response to wishes, hopes, or half-hearted declarations, but to the vibration of a steady, unwavering command. Certainty is the language the unseen understands best. It is not loud, but it is absolute. It does not falter or question itself. It does not wonder if it will be heard. It knows it already has been. When certainty is spoken, the universe aligns like iron filings to a magnetic field, moving into place without hesitation. The invisible does not need convincing, it needs direction, and certainty is that direction. Uncertainty sends mixed signals into the field, like static interrupting a clear broadcast. One moment it says come, the next it whispers wait, and then it trembles with what if. This scattered vibration leaves the invisible in a state of flux, unable to bring anything into full form. But certainty sends a single tone, unwavering, like a clear bell ringing in still air. The universe responds with movement that is swift, precise, and undeniable. Certainty acts as a key in the invisible lock, turning with ease what doubt cannot budge. Certainty is not arrogance. It is not the pounding of fists against the walls of reality. It is the calm stillness of one who knows they are standing in alignment with the law that governs everything. It is quiet power. It does not chase or struggle. It declares and then it rests. That rest is not inaction. It is the confidence of a seed knowing that once planted, the soil will do its work. Certainty plants and then waits in peace, knowing the harvest must follow. The invisible realm is exact. It mirrors what it receives without deviation. If it receives hesitation, it reflects hesitation. If it receives certainty, it reflects manifestation. This is why those who speak once with firm conviction often see results faster than those who repeat their declarations 100 times with doubt woven between the words. It is not the number of words but the strength of the signal that commands movement. A single beam of steady light cuts through the darkness more powerfully than 100 flickering flames. Certainty does not depend on appearances. It does not shift with the winds of external evidence. It stands like a pillar, unmoved, even when the world around it sways. Appearances are temporary, shadows of old vibrations. Certainty speaks from the eternal, not the fleeting. It looks at the unseen, not at the wavering forms of the visible world. It declares what is, even when the senses say otherwise, and by declaring it with unwavering strength, it causes the visible to rearrange itself to match. When a mind is certain, its energy gathers instead of scattering. It stops leaking power into doubt, fear, or second-guessing. It focuses, sharpens, and radiates in a single direction. This radiation is felt by everything in its field. Circumstances begin to bend. People sense the clarity without needing explanation. Opportunities begin to align as if pulled by an invisible thread. Certainty creates order out of chaos because chaos cannot resist a steady vibration. To live in certainty is to live in quiet dominion. It is not about control over others or over events, but about standing so firmly in alignment with your word that the universe has no choice but to reflect it. It is the state where inner and outer no longer conflict. What is spoken inwardly is what is experienced outwardly. There is no gap between the two. The universe does not obey doubt because doubt is not a command, it is a question. It asks instead of declares. It wonders instead of knowing. The invisible does not act on questions, it mirrors them. A question returns as uncertainty, delay, or confusion, but a word spoken with certainty is like a blueprint pressed into the formless. The formless takes that blueprint and builds without hesitation. When certainty fills the voice, even a whisper carries power. The force is not in volume but in vibration. A quiet statement of certainty shakes more in the unseen than a loud cry of desperation. The law does not respond to noise. It responds to precision. It responds to the still core beneath the word. This is why one who truly believes does not need to repeat themselves again and again. One clear declaration, held in unwavering trust, carries farther than 100 uncertain attempts. Certainty is not built on external proof. It is born from inner knowing. It does not wait to see in order to believe, it believes, and then it sees. This reversal is what separates those who move the unseen from those who wait endlessly for signs. Certainty does not ask for permission from appearances, it speaks from authority, not from need. When certainty is present, time itself bends. What was expected to take years can arrive in months. What seemed distant can step forward swiftly. This is not magic in the sense of the fantastical. It is the precision of a law responding to an exact vibration. The invisible has no resistance to certainty. It cannot argue with it. It is drawn to it and molded by it. Those who live in certainty walk through the world differently. Their steps are deliberate, their eyes calm, their presence steady. Others sense something in them, not arrogance, but a quiet power. Things seem to happen around them in ways others call coincidence, but it is not coincidence. It is obedience. The universe recognizes certainty as an instruction. Certainty requires the letting go of doubt, not by fighting it, but by rising above it. Doubt belongs to the realm of appearances. Certainty belongs to the realm of truth. When the inner gaze is fixed on truth, doubt loses its grip like a shadow that vanishes when the light grows strong. Certainty does not argue with doubt, it simply stands taller than it. The invisible does not work through fragmented signals, it requires a singular, unwavering vibration. This is why inner clarity is as essential as outer speech. If the voice declares abundance, but the heart trembles with lack, the signal is split, and the universe receives confusion. But when the voice and heart are united in certainty, the signal becomes clear and irresistible. The universe obeys it as surely as water flows to the sea. Certainty is not frantic. It does not rush, chase, or grasp. It stands, and standing is enough. It does not beg for a sign because it is the sign. It does not demand proof because it already knows. This calm confidence sends out a frequency that reaches far beyond words. It speaks in a language older than language itself, the language of unwavering truth. In the quiet of certainty, everything begins to move. It is a silent authority that does not need to fight to be heard. The universe hears it the moment it is felt, not when it is shouted. This is why certainty is often invisible to others, but unmissable in its results. One who commands with certainty does not always look grand or dramatic. Sometimes they are silent, still, and radiant, with an unshakable knowing. Certainty does not entertain contradiction. It does not waver between maybe and must. It is not half open, half closed. It is complete. The universe responds to this completion. It moves where certainty points, like a tide following the moon. It shapes itself around the firm line drawn by the one who knows. To embody certainty is to become a conductor of the invisible. It is to give the formless something unshakable to build upon. It is to send out a signal that says, "This is," and to watch as everything begins to rearrange itself to match that declaration. Certainty is not force. It is presence. It is the stillness that makes everything else move. It is the unwavering voice that the universe recognizes instantly